Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam. I am a licensed hairstylist, and as a hairstylist, and I mean really any job position where you're dealing with the general public, you come across some interesting people, to say the least. So today's video is going to be some story times of some really weird, kind of creepy clients that I had when I was still in beauty school. So when you're in beauty school, the last few months or so of school, you are out on the floor taking clients, kind of just like you would in a real salon, but your teachers are there to help you and to check your work. At my school, the teachers weren't super involved in the whole process. Like, they wouldn't stand there with you the whole entire time you were with a client. You'd bring them over at the very beginning, explain what you are about to do, and then have them come over at the end just to check everything. And then of course, you know, you can call them over if you need help. So the first lady that I want to talk about, oh boy. So she came in for a haircut, and I went over, I introduced myself, brought her over to my station. We did our little consultation. She just wanted a little bit of a trim, and that was it. So I brought her over to the shampoo bowl. I start shampooing her hair, and I'm just trying to make some small talk with her, you know, just like you normally would. I'm asking her if she's ever been to the school before, if she's from the area, what does she do, stuff like that. And I don't know, like right off the bat, her vibe just felt a little, like, I don't know if she was in a bad mood or just like had a bitchy personality. I don't know, but whatever it was, it just did not seem like she was interested in talking to me. Didn't seem like she was interested in me, period. All of the responses she would give me were very short, just like yes or no answers. She wasn't like attempting to continue the conversation at all. It was just very like, yes, no, which is totally fine. Sometimes people come to get their hair done and they just want to lay back and relax and they don't want to talk. I am totally fine with that because I hate making small talk. And I bring her back over to my station so I can begin her haircut. And right as I start cutting her hair, she starts talking to me all of a sudden. I was like, oh, okay. This, by the way, happened in December, like maybe a week or two before Christmas. So she asks me, what am I doing for Christmas, if I have any Christmas plans? So I'm like, oh, I don't really have anything special planned. You have a pretty small family. So I'm like, what about you? And she says, well, you know, of course we're gonna go to church first thing. And then she's like, do you go to church? And I was like, no, you know, my family, we're not really like church people. And she goes, are you religious? Like, just like that, like all of a sudden she went from just not being interested in talking to me at all to now just drilling me with these questions, and just had such an intensity to her. Like, she seemed so disinterested in the beginning, and now all of a sudden she's just so intense and so like staring into my soul. Like, are you religious? So I'm like, and right away I started to feel a little uncomfortable because we were taught in school that the three things you do not talk to clients about is religion, politics, and sex. So right off the bat, I was like, ooh, this is kind of getting into like bad territory. And this is nothing against religious people, but you know, it's just like, it didn't feel like an appropriate conversation to have. But me being like shy and a little naive and just like, I don't know, I just was scared to like shut her down right away. What I should have did was said, you know what, this isn't really an appropriate conversation. I don't feel comfortable talking about this. And then just like tried to change the subject. But she seemed like she didn't like me in the beginning, and now she finally was like interested in talking to me. So I was like, okay, like, you know, I'll answer her questions, but hopefully this will end soon, or we can kind of steer it in a different direction. You know, maybe she's just curious. So I'm like, no, I don't really consider myself religious or identify with any particular religion. I consider myself, if anything, more spiritual. And she goes, do you believe in God? And I'm like, So I think I was just like, oh, you know, I'm not really sure what I believe in. There's so many possibilities out there. I'm kind of just open. And she's telling me how only Christianity is the right religion, and there's only one God, and I need to believe in him, and I need to go to church. And I wish I could remember her exact words, because whatever it was that she said, I literally was like, okay, this lady is like a little nuts. Something along the lines of like, when the universe ends, like, don't you want your soul to be saved? Like something like that. And I was like, I don't So she's basically telling me that like if I don't go to church and believe in the same God as her, that my soul is going to be doomed to eternal hell, basically, I guess. It was just such an uncomfortable conversation. And again, I should have just shut her down and told her that it wasn't appropriate. But I don't know. I'm just like such a people pleaser. And I think especially because I was still in school and I was still so new to all of this. And this was like my first interaction where it was like, whoa, like totally inappropriate conversation, you know? So I just didn't really know what to do. I don't know. So luckily this lady barely had any hair. It was like very fine and she didn't have a lot of it. So at this point, I was done with her haircut and I just started blow drying her, and you know, we couldn't talk over the sound of the blow dryer, luckily. So I blow dried her super fast and I immediately just went over to get my teacher and I told her what was going on. So she came over and she was able to just like kind of get this lady out as quickly as possible. Looking back on it now, it's funny because she barely wanted any hair cut off at all. And she didn't even really need a haircut anyway. Like she didn't need a trim. So I almost wonder, like, does she just do this? Like, does she just come in occasionally and book an appointment just so that she can, like, try to spread the word to whoever student she gets? I don't know. And I think it's great that you know, believe in something so strongly and you want to spread the word to other people, but I feel like there's a time and place, you know, and a beauty school isn't really the right place for that. I just can't stand it when people try to shove their beliefs down your throat and try to like shame you for not having the same beliefs as them. Look, lady, I'm just here to learn and to practice doing hair. Just let me do your haircut and just leave me alone. So the next client was actually a man. For the sake of the video, let's call him Jack. So Jack comes in for a haircut. Again, I go over, introduce myself, bring him over to my chair. So I start cutting his hair and he is, you ever meet those people that are just very, very outgoing? They're very talkative and like they're just very loud. So when they're out in a public place, they'll kind of like get other people involved in their conversation or just like involve themselves in other people's conversations. You know what I mean? Like he was one of those people, like very easy to make conversation with, very talkative, very loud, very outgoing, super friendly, really nice. So I'm having a good time chatting with him. He was asking me a lot of stuff about myself, like where I'm originally from and my parents and like my ethnicity and just a whole bunch of stuff. I honestly don't really remember in detail what we were talking about in the beginning because it was just totally like normal. I do remember though at some point we were talking about seafood and how I really love seafood and I love lobster. After I'm done with his haircut, I ask if he wants to get shampooed because at my school that's how we were taught to do men's clipper cuts. You know, cut the hair first and then if they want to be shampooed at the end, do that last. So he says yes. I bring him over to the shampoo bowl and I start shampooing his head. And I'm giving him a nice scrub and a nice head massage because again, that's what we were taught to do in school. And no lie, he literally starts moaning. Like it legitimately sounded like this man was having sex or was like getting a hand job or like something. I don't know. It was so uncomfortable. And he's just saying like, oh, that feels so good. Oh my God, you have magic fingers. And then he literally goes, are you married or do you have a boyfriend or anything? Oh, and mind you, I didn't even mention this. This man is in his 50s. And at the time I was 25. So he's like more than double my age, which not that there's anything wrong with that. You know, age is just a number. But yeah, like he's a lot older than I am. So that just made it like even more uncomfortable. And I'm not even sure if I was with my boyfriend yet at the time. But either way, I was just like, yeah, I'm in a relationship. So he's saying that whoever I'm with is so lucky to have me and oh, what he would give to be able to get a nice massage like this every day. And then he was like, oh, I know you love seafood. I would love to take you out to an amazing seafood dinner if then you would give me one of these in exchange. And like, I wonder had I told him that I was single, if he legitimately would have like asked me out. I kind of feel like he would have. So yeah, I finished shampooing him. I bring him back over to my chair just to dry him off really quick. And he's still just like going on and on about how beautiful I am and how I'm such an old soul, and he's really good at reading people, and he can just tell that I'm a really good person and that I was raised really well. And he was saying like, oh, if only he was younger. And it's like, it's very flattering and nice to be complimented like that, but at the same time, it was just so uncomfortable. Because again, like, wrong place and time, you know? And it was one of those things where like I felt kind of uncomfortable, but at the same time he wasn't saying anything like outright sexual or inappropriate or like offensive, so I couldn't really like get mad at him. I mean, I wasn't mad, I was just like felt kind of awkward and weird. So I dry him off really quick, and at this point like I'm completely done. His haircut is finished. And I'm literally just standing there as he's still just talking and talking and talking and like drowning me in these compliments. And I'm like looking for a free moment where I can just kind of be like, okay, your hair's done, what do you think? And then like run and go get my teacher so we could just like wrap this up. But again, I am shy and quiet, and especially at the time I just didn't feel comfortable like interjecting and cutting him off. So at one point I like made eye contact with my teacher from across the room, and I kind of told her with my eyes like, I need your help over here. So she came over and she just like cut him off and just asked him how he liked his haircut and signed my paper and just helped me like kind of push him out the door, because she could tell right away that he just like wouldn't stop talking. And I think he was even telling her like how amazing I was and stuff, and it was sweet, but oh my God, okay. So then he finally got up to leave, and no lie, he bowed down to me as he was leaving. I can't even. Oh my God, freaking Jack. That's what I called him, right? Jack. Like, what a sweet guy. I really truly don't think that he had any bad intentions or that he meant to be creepy. I feel like that's just his personality. He just like comes off really strong. And he did say that he was gonna come back and keep getting his hair cut by me, but luckily this was right before I graduated, so I left before he ever came back. So those are some of my stories of some kind of weird clients that I had to deal with while I was in beauty school. At this point, now that I have actually been like working in a salon doing hair for about a year and a half, I definitely have learned to be a little bit more assertive, and I've learned that like as the stylist, you should be the one that's in control of what's happening. And if the conversation is going somewhere where you feel like it's inappropriate or you just feel really uncomfortable, you should feel comfortable to either change the subject or just cut the person off and let them know, hey, look, this really is not professional. And I know it can be really hard. I still have a little bit of a hard time with that. I definitely am a people pleaser. I think a lot of people in this industry are. So you don't want to upset your client or offend them or make the situation more awkward, but sometimes you need to just put your foot down. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like these storytime videos and you want me to do more, let me know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.